Yeah. I believe. You want? So, wait. You want that?
Did you get all
All right, good evening, everyone. I will now open the public hearing. We are present tonight at these advertised public hearings to receive public comment on two zoning proposals to amend the city land use management code and allow for a change in the zoning of property as applied in this city. City Attorney Paul Stewart has been tasked as the zoning administrator for these proposed zonings. We will address these hearings one at a time. Ms. Stewart, turn the first public hearing over to you at this time.
Good evening. A public hearing has been called on a City of Pendergrass joint rezoning application received by the City of Pendergrass pursuant to its zoning authority, asking that the City of Pendergrass amend the text of its land use management code and allow for a change in the zoning of property in this city. This application is a joint application from the City of Pendergrass and ARC Multifamily Group.
Let's go with your microphone.
Better? Yeah, thank you. Okay, sorry. This public hearing has been duly advertised in the Jackson Herald as required by law. I shall first summarize the process for these public hearings as required by Chapter 21.3 of the City Land Management Code. There shall be a minimum time period of 10 minutes at public hearing for the proponents of this rezoning request to present data, evidence, and opinions. Any member of the City Council may ask questions of the applicant or the agent of the applicant. At the conclusion of the applicant's presentation, any opponents to this application shall have a period of 10 minutes to present data, evidence, and opinions. Prior to each speaking, each speaker shall clearly identify themselves and state his or her current address. Each speaker shall speak only to the merits of the proposed application under consideration and shall address his or her remarks to the hearing body. This is not an appropriate forum for personal attacks on each person in this room, and all remarks should be limited to any relevant issues regarding this application. I remind everyone that only 10 minutes of time is allotted for each side. I suggest that each side may wish to elect a spokesperson to speak for them if possible. The city clerk shall act as the official timekeeper for these hearings. At the conclusion of the public testimony, the applicant or his agent shall be allowed a short opportunity to address questions about the testimony of the public and provide final comments and remarks. The time devoted to any such rebuttal shall be counted toward the total of the 10 minutes time allotted. At the close of the public hearing of this application, I will turn this meeting back over to the mayor, who shall indicate that the public hearing is closed. After these hearings are closed, the applicant or his agent or any member of the public shall no longer address the hearing body in any way, which includes hand waving or motions for attention. And we have two of these hearings. We'll start the first one. We will now begin the public hearing to review rezoning application from the applicant. This is case number RZ1101, 2023. The synopsis of this application number RZ11012023 is as follows. As the appointed zoning administrator, I'm going to read a brief synopsis of the applicant's rezoning request. The city is a joint applicant with ARC Multifamily Group. The City of Pendergrass and ARC Multifamily Group are requesting the city to rezone property located at Flingy Road and at 708 Highway 332 Glen G. Road from its current zoning of R1 and AGR to MFR and OI, multifamily residential and office and institutional, for the purpose of developing a multifamily gated luxury apartment complex, excuse me, with a limit of 175 units, as well as a 14-plus acres city government complex, with a city hall and a park and government building. Future building sites will include county emergency medical services, which is an ambulance building, the city police and fire headquarters, and a city hall and public space in city park areas. The subject property is located along Glen G. Road across from Brooks Village and next to the Blakely Apartments. This location is located south of town center, and the site is comprised of two parcels that approximately total 22.31 acres. The proposed apartment site will consist of an upscale apartment complex the upscale apartment complex is to be gated and have a hotel community package. The developer will construct a new 5,000 square foot city hall for the city, as well as construct a road to the new city hall and provide parking spaces for city hall at no cost to the city. The developer will donate to the city approximately 14 acres more or less for its use. This property shall be donated to the city via warranty deed, again at no cost to the city. The city proposes to construct a new police headquarters for its city police force and is working with Jackson County to construct a GMS and city fire department headquarters in the future. The city plans to use this space as a city park and community space for fairs, public events, and holiday celebrations. Specifically for the city, ARC Multifamily Group has agreed to design and construct a 5,000 square foot city hall complex at no cost to the city per the specifications and at the location as agreed to by the city, to include a finished turnkey building complete with a kitchen, all plumbing, electrical fixtures, outlets, lighting, ceiling fans, flooring, roofing, windows, 2 restrooms, which are ADA compliant, doors, finishes, paint, doorknobs, wires, cameras, phones, computers, and the like. This building shall include a road to the building and a parking lot strip with 25 parking spaces in front of the building. ARC Multifamily Group agrees to pay for the cost of moving and reinstalling the city's 3 flagpoles, the camera and alarm system from the old City Hall location to this new City Hall location, as well as paying for the cost of moving and reinstalling the Chris Roos Police Memorial Monument at the new City Hall location. This land is identified in the city's future comprehensive land use map as suburban neighborhood character area where high-density residential development may be appropriate, as these parcels are located near downtown Pendergrass and other high-intensity areas. This proposed development will be attractively landscaped and will use high-quality building materials as mandated by city code. This project is intended to accommodate life in a new era of growth and development in the city. This project allows the city to focus on the infill and redevelopment and ensure continuity of development as well as quality of development. The developer has agreed to balance tree protection by saving as many existing trees as possible and planting ones as required by city conditions, and open space with innovative site planning. This project requires, at a minimum, a 40-foot buffer with adjoining properties to help protect existing residences in previously developed subdivisions and current landowners. This property is in a transitional part of our community. It is transitioning from AGR and R1 to higher density multifamily dwellings and is already surrounded on several sides by residential neighborhoods and a vast and existing gated apartment complex. As I have stated previously in the zoning analysis, Pendergrass must move beyond the increasingly frustrating battle between development advocates and neighborhood protection and anti-development advocates. Polarizing the community further with each development decision is not the way to build a wonderful quality of life for the relatives and businesses of Pendergrass. No matter what the pace of growth within Pendergrass, pass-through traffic from surrounding communities will continue to impact local quality of life. However, even if all the growth in the city stopped tomorrow, traffic in the city would continue to get worse. That does not mean that life within neighborhoods needs to decline in quality. It is vitally important that we make the best zoning decisions to create the best neighborhoods as we can, as these proposed developments come before the city leaders. Growth will come, and it is the responsibility of the city leaders to manage it appropriately. We don't live in a rural community anymore in Pendergrass. Pendergrass is solidly suburban, and the entire area surrounding our city will continue to change from agriculture-based to higher density residential and commercial areas in the near future. The proposed development would fit into the character of the existing context and would add a high-quality addition to the overall area while providing new homes near the downtown core. My recommendation as zoning administrator is as follows. The requested zoning classification and the subsequent multifamily townhomes that will follow are in the best interest of the city of Pendergrass. This zoning classification will benefit the city of Pendergrass public welfare. The zoning classification will comply with the city's efforts to promote the health, safety, welfare, and morals of this community and maintain the character of the zoning district while allowing for development and natural change to occur. This MFR apartment and office and institutional use zoning, if approved, is substantially related to public health, safety, morality, and welfare because this proposed zoning is compatible with surrounding land uses and is consistent with the city's comprehensive plan, as well as is essential to addressing the needs associated with the future growth of the city, such as city government buildings, parks, and recreational spaces. As such, if the city council votes to rezone this property, approval as MFR and office and institutional use zoning would be the most suitable category. Representing the Department of Planning and Development as the appointed zoning administrator, my developer shall agree that it is solely the responsibility for the payment of all costs associated with the operation of streetlights in this gated community apartment. The developer shall ensure that this development shall provide fire protection in the form of placement of water systems, fire hydrants, sprinkler systems, firewalls, alarm systems as required by local and state fire codes. Each residential unit shall be constructed with a fire suppression sprinkler system. The developer shall ensure that the approved smoke detector shall be installed on each level of every dwelling unit, which, when activated, will give an alarm audible in all sleeping areas. The speed limit in this development shall be posted at 15 miles per hour. The developer shall construct this property and the owner shall own this property as a private gated apartment complex. The entrance to the property shall at all times have a functional, operational, and secure gate that shall be accessed via a password or a pass number key code system. City police and county and city fire department personnel shall be furnished with an updated passcode at all times. The developer owner agrees not to accept or allow any tenants or renters who use federal vouchers for housing recipients under the Housing Choice Voucher Program, formerly known as Section 8, to move in or occupy apartments within this development. Both the developer owner and any subsequent owners of this property, as well as the city of Pendergrass, agree and understand that discrimination against housing applicants based on race, age, and sexual orientation is illegal and will not be condoned. The state of Georgia legal code mandates that cities cannot expand the definition of fair housing beyond the state, which does not include source of income. The Georgia Fair Housing Law, Title 8, Chapter 3, Article 4 of the Official Code of Georgia specifically prohibits discrimination relating to the sale, rental, or financing of dwellings, or in the provision of brokerage services or facilities in connection with the sale or rental of dwelling based on race, color, religion, sex, disability, or handicap, familial status, or national origin. The Fair Housing Act, Title 8 of the Civil Rights Act of 1968, prohibits discrimination in the sale, rental, and financing of dwelling and other housing-related transactions based on race, color, national origin, religion, sex, disability, or familial status. The City of Pendergrass and the developer owner understand that Section 8 of the Housing Act of 1937 created a housing choice voucher program. Both the City of Pendergrass and the developer owner understand that under the Housing Act, there is no provision requiring a landlord to accept Section 8 vouchers, and the state of Georgia does not have a provision requiring a landlord to accept Section 8 vouchers, now housing choice voucher program. The developer owner agrees that neither it nor any subsequent owner of this development shall allow any tenants that use federal vouchers for housing to pay for any portion of the cost associated to occupy any apartment in this development. By ordinance, no more than 10% of the total units to be built in this development shall be 3-bedroom residences. No residences shall be constructed with more than 3 total bedrooms. My recommendation is the approval of this request to rezone this property from R1 and AGR to MFR, apartments and offices, institutional use with conditions. Some of my suggested conditions include: the city shall approve all roadway planning, sidewalks, multi-use paths, detention areas, and any and all other proposed features shown on the submitted plan, in addition to any specific provisions required by the City of Pendergrass Planning and Zoning Department. The developer shall provide 5 feet sidewalks along the interior of the project near each cabinet and dwelling unit. All sidewalks shall include at least 1 foot wide planter strip between the sidewalk and the back of the curb. All utility placements shall be below ground. The developer shall ensure that for any publicly dedicated street, a minimum roadway width of at least 24 feet shall be provided. All streets shall be paved and rollback concrete curbs and gutters shall be provided on all publicly dedicated streets. Floodback curbing shall be allowed, and under the construction of said roadways will meet the standards of all local residential streets as required by the building code of the City of Pendergrass. All streets shall be dedicated to the City of Pendergrass before any certificate of occupancy is issued. The street shall be fully paved and inspected and approved by the city to include top coats before any certificate of occupancy shall be issued. The developer is responsible for any legal costs and surveys associated with the dedicating these streets to the City of Pendergrass Street Maintenance Program. The developer shall ensure that any land included as open space shall be maintained by the apartment owner. All streets in this project shall be equipped with street lamps per a lighting plan to be provided by Georgia Power. Each intersection shall include at least 1 street lamp on 1 corner. These street lamps shall be constructed from metal and shall be black in color. The apartment owner is responsible for paying electrical bills associated with the community street lights. The City of Pendergrass shall approve the style of these street lamps to be installed by the developer before any construction can begin on this development. All ground areas shall be landscaped with grass sod. The developer shall agree and pledge to pay any and all costs or expenses associated with all engineering plan review costs incurred by the city planners, engineers, architects, and surveyors in regard to this development. It is the policy of the City of Pendergrass to have an independent engineer of their own choosing to review all preliminary and final engineering plans for conformity to the state and city building and engineering code and guidelines. The developer shall ensure that it will abide by all City of Pendergrass building regulations, specifically concerning streets, curbing, and landscaping. At this time, could we hear from persons in favor of today's zoning amendment in the applicant? Yes.
Right from so we everybody can see it. then show that for the full list.
Ready?
Right.
Okay. Hello, thank you for having me. My name's Bryce Jennings.
Do you mind if you turn on from the mic?
Can you hear me now?
Thanks. Perfect.
My name's Bryce Jennings. Thank you for having me. I'm the instructor architect that's working on this project. We'll start off with the City Hall here in the multifamily building. This is the site plan here. You can see the luxury apartments are going to go on this side. Likely, just to orient you guys, likely is adjacent on this side. So we're tying these two things together. And then down here in the lower right-hand corner, 5,000 square feet City Hall with a connection compartment. So, and we have talked about the future aspects of police station and fire station and other future things. So we are 175 units on multifamily. And on this one over here is kind of the initial elevation of City Hall on top. And we also have an initial concept elevation of the street of the luxury park. Okay, and then I'll switch over now to the downtown yellow. So these three boards are the downtown area that we're kind of orienting here is Church Street. And there's three buildings we're talking about here, building A, B, and C. And building A on this side of Frenchie is 3-story apartments. Building B is ground floor retail. Building C is has ground floor retail as well as some apartments. But in all 3 stories, the difference is 2-story apartments on top of 2 buildings, B and C, and building A is all from. So we have 115 units here, roughly 400 parking spaces. That's sort of the layout for this other side. Over here, you can see the concept elevations for the A, B, and C building. Just give you some character, the old kind of brought back to the old downtown feel character. We also did some 3D renderings where we try to show some more dynamic aspects to the 2D tours here. So you can get an idea of what the actual feel is. All right.
Right. How about the retail section of it? How many square feet of retail are we're talking
We've
about?
got 30,000 square feet of retail in building C and D. And that's all on the ground. So you kind of see that along the kind of storefront feel, retail feel across the board. And then for this building area, we don't see any additional. This building here. your retail food. Church.
You were the architect, you might be asking the question, what type of outside,
And if we can hold a question for the
Okay.
presentation, that would work.
oh, sorry.
All right. Did we address all of their different aspects?
I have a question. There's any was covered. Just wanted to know the 400 spaces, how many of those will be solely dedicated to?
So we're not dedicating, most of the spaces here are not dedicated because it's in more of an urban environment here. So it's kind of first come, first served. There are some parking spaces that are behind Building A that are more dedicated to the residents because we also have a swimming pool over here that we're kind of shielding from the surrounding neighborhood of the building. But that will be the swimming pool available for residents of the building. We also dedicated a small amount dedicated parking. All the parking on the main road, all first come, first served.
What was her question? I couldn't hear you. She wasn't fine. What was her question?
She wanted to know if there were any dedicated, if we had a bunch of dedicated parking for the park, or if it was all public parking. And so
I just didn't hear. She wasn't fine.
because
Thank you.
I've got a question. Who's going to manage the commercial spaces?
I would not be the one to answer that question.
I'll speak on behalf of our respective representative areas. Our multifamily will be managing the commercial side, as well as the multifamily side. And also, Bryce, just to mention the clientele, the matrix that's going downtown, it's more driven to one bedroom and studios. There's no
Smaller apartments, yeah, they're all one, studio, 1, 2.
And for each unit that has 2 bedrooms, there's also going to be 2 bathrooms?
There is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath.
Okay. And then also, as far as, it was my understanding that there were no 3 bedrooms, that they were all 2 bedrooms at max.
Here, that is correct. That's correct, up the downtown.
Okay.
There are no 3 bedrooms.
And then the 3 bedrooms that was in there is at the other location?
It's at the other location.
Okay, but that's also different from what we discussed, so I'm kind of curious about that.
Okay. At this other site, we do have that's
Yeah, likely 2.0. Okay. When did that change?
It did. Three bedrooms were always available at that location, not in the downtown location.
Okay. All right.
I think maybe when we talked about it, it didn't come across that way.
Okay. Yeah, I have reservations about that, just because it was I guess it's my misunderstanding, but I do have reservations about 3-bedroom apartments versus 2-bedroom, based on what we discussed earlier.
What is that? Good to 10%.
Your microphone's on.
I was answering you.
I see where it says 10% here, but I don't recall seeing that in the other documentation. And so that's why I'm curious about that part, because we'd also discussed having 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms max. So that's why I'm curious about that. I definitely see the merit of this. I'm excited about it. Obviously, we need to plan for the infrastructure, we need to plan for the growth, and we need to control and direct that. But when I see things that are slightly different, that's where I start asking questions.
Sure.
So,
Okay. Yeah, we can probably, if anybody wants to respond to anybody else. I'm just speaking to the attorney.
So at this time, we will hear from any opponents of the proposed rezoning amendment. If there's anyone that wishes to speak, if you will please stand up, state your name and address, and speak clearly. Is there anyone that wishes to speak against it?
I do. First, you read the thing you read.
You can step up to the podium and state your name and address.
Pam?
Pam Rainwater, Pendergrass. Who prepared the statement you read for the zoning request?
That was here by my office.
Okay, but who requested it?
Ma'am,
The person's name.
this is for comment.
Well, I can't ask questions.
No, ma'am, this is just a comment.
Okay, we only had 3 questions.
It's not questioning, it's just for comment.
Okay, my comment is you should allow questions. And the person that prepared that, same person that owns the property. So if the landlord is in the council, that's my comment.
Anyone else?
I'm Ray Vaughn. I live at the property adjacent where you want to put a city hall. And I listened to your conditions, and I think there's a couple of conditions I'd like to ask you to add. One of the is maximum of 107 units. And the second would be that it be designed based on plans submitted to the site. And I'd like to suggest you a better sound system.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Anyone else?
Emily Garcia. I live in Burke Village, which would be across from this. I'm disappointed that this is even an option. I think that's why there's so many people here tonight, even though no one else is coming up. I have 2 children, and our neighborhood is full of children, and we just got rezoned to the new elementary school down the street, and you're talking about bringing more children. We have all these neighborhoods, and I know this goes back to the mayor selling to Rob, and Rob tried to sell. But if we could just look out for the future of our children who are here, I know some of you on the board are renters, and you probably don't have the same intentions as the rest who bought into Pendergrass, but I just disagree with it going up at all.
Anyone else? And I will say that personal comments, again, need not to occur. This is just for, your opinions. Don't need to attack council members.
I didn't attack anybody. I mean, I can call you by name if you want me to, but I did not.
That would be attacking someone to make, those kind of remarks. If we can just keep it, I know everybody's very emotional, but if we can just limit that, please. Mr. Robertson, if you want to,
Yes, ma'am, I was just curious, just the only couple.
if you can state your full name and your address.
I'm sorry, I was telling my name.
I know Mr. Robertson, everybody else is like,
It's for years. I didn't want to get in trouble. She thought my name got in trouble. My name's Donald Ross. I live at 5-7 Brothers from Pendergrass. I just have a question about the apartments that they're building downtown. Here.
I mean, it's just for comments, it's not a question.
Okay, not a question, and just a comment about it. He says, 350 units, correct?
No.
Again, this is just comments.
Okay, he said 350 units in this section. You got 400 parking spaces. That's about, if you just have 2 people per apartment, you need 750, 700 or so. So I mean, y'all already got parking problems in this town. You got them parking on the sidewalks and everywhere else. You can't control it. And you're not building enough space, and you ain't got the parking at all as you do it. I mean, I don't even know why I'm gonna come to the meeting. Y'all won't answer questions people's got.
Brett Bellamy at 196 Church Street right here. Just based on the state of Church Street itself and the strength in the city, I have concerns about whether the infrastructure can handle that many people. And I would just be concerned about whether the city has considered whether it's schooling or whatever else, if there are schools enough, if the roads are good enough for that many people, that many cars. It would be a wish of mine, just because that's where I purchased property, that road actually has to be able for 2 cars to pass. So we don't have that on any of these streets surrounding the city hall. So that was just my comment, that maybe the infrastructure currently doesn't feel like it can support something that big. And I know that you talked about traffic coming through, that can happen, that may be true, but we're also talking about bringing thousands of people into the city center, right? So that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Scott Davidson, 115 Blackberry Lane. I'm president of the HOA Blackberry Farms. Just on behalf of Blackberry Farms, I know that we were thanking Nick for, for holding a meeting with us here a while back and trying to get through this whole project. So, but during that discussion, it was under the understanding for the front of was it building 8, and where the Merit shop is that building 8? Yeah, just where the apartments are going to be, with the parking lots and the our property.
Yeah.
So I think that there was discussion about a 50-foot buffer, and I just heard, I'm not asking a question, just making a comment. During that time, there was a discussion about 50-foot buffer, and I heard 40-foot. So whenever we get a chance, I would like for some on that. And then, of course, I'll let the rest of my residents come up and speak, but I think everybody heard their comments last week, so thank you.
Good evening.
Have you on?
I'd like to first off, I'm Terry May. I live in Blackberry Farm subdivision. I used to sit where you guys are sitting now. And I do appreciate the fact that you guys are looking to the future for Pendergrass. I would like to look for the future also. A few comments on the drawings, a few comments on the road. 332 is a state road. It's my understanding that the state DOT has no intentions of increasing the width of 332 from the railroad tracks down to John B. Brooks Road. Comment 1. Comment 2 is DOT usually requires A-cell or D-cell lanes since you can't get a turn lane on a 24-foot road. So that is not considered in any of the drawings that I've looked at. Number 3, we have a 12-inch water main running down 332. Jackson County Water and Sewer are proposing a 24-inch for the bare 10% increase in population for Jackson County. I believe you exceeded that 10% by a sizable margin, and I'm not sure if a 12-inch water main right now will handle all of these buildings and residencies. You do the math, it probably takes 150 gallons per residency. And how many are you guys planning on putting in here on that 12-inch line? You can talk all you want about a fire department a few years down the road and that. You won't have any water. Okay. Second, when you put the fresh water in, you've got to have it go somewhere. That's a sewer line, probably. The sewer system, the wastewater treatment plants that Jackson County Sewer and Water have reached their maximum point. They admit it. They know they're going to have to add on to that. You guys need to consider how much time it's going to take to put the 24-inch line put water down through here and put an increase in sewer capacity so that you can actually open up these apartments and have people take showers, etc. I really think you guys need to step back and look at all of those considerations. One more consideration concerning water. I do not see retaining pond 1 in any of these plans. You have how many square feet of impervious roofs, asphalt, etc. Water's got to go somewhere when you get a 1 inch, 2 inch rain in an hour, which we've had recently quite a bit. You need to consider that and figure out where all this water is going to go. Okay.
Thank you. Our time's up. We have, I think, 1 minute left for opponents of this project if they wish to say, make the other statement. Otherwise, we can close this hearing.
Can I say one other thing, please?
No, sir. Unless you're speaking on behalf of the project. If the opponent already had 10 minutes.
Were you gonna ask for the table? That would be.
I was just wondering, I thought this would be a paper.
Is there anyone else?
I just want to ask these people out here questions. Is anybody here from the school board? Or got anything to do with the school system?
Okay. Mr. Roberts, I'm going to ask you to put this down so we can close this hearing and move on to
School board told me that it was being tabled, it was not prepared tonight, was the reason I didn't here. I know you don't answer questions, but I know what's
Okay,
right.
we're going to end this particular hearing. I'm going to turn this back over to the mayor before we start our second hearing.
I now close this public hearing meeting, and I will at this time open the second public hearing of the second zoning proposal before the city. Ms. Stewart, I'll again turn the meeting over to you at this time.
So we're going to go through everything again. This is a public hearing that has been called on the city of Pendergrass joint zoning application received by the city of Pendergrass pursuant to its zoning authority, asking the city of Pendergrass to amend the text of its land use management code and allow for a change in the zoning of property in the city. This application is from STKT Investments LLC. This public hearing has been duly advertised in the Jackson Herald as required by law. In summarizing the process for these public hearings as required by Chapter 21.3 of the City Land Use Management Code, I'm going to state as follows and ask that everyone pay attention. There shall be a minimum of a 10-minute, a minimum time period of 10 minutes at the public hearing for the proponents of this rezone request to present data, evidence, and opinions. Any member of the city council may ask questions of the applicant or the agent of the applicant, and that is members of the city council. At the conclusion of the applicant's presentation, any opponents to this application shall have a period of 10 minutes to present data, evidence, and opinions. Prior to speaking, each speaker shall clearly identify themselves and state his or her current address. Each speaker shall speak only to the merits of the proposed application under consideration and shall address his or her remarks to the hearing body. This is not an appropriate forum for personal attacks on any person in this room, including the council members, and all remarks should be limited to relevant issues regarding this application. I remind all that only 10 minutes of time is allotted for each side. I suggest that each side may wish to elect a spokesperson to speak for them if possible. The city clerk shall act as the official timekeeper for these hearings. At the conclusion of the public testimony, the applicant or agent shall be allowed a short opportunity to answer questions about the testimony of the public and provide final comments and remarks. The time devoted to any such rebuttal shall be counted towards the total of 10 minutes allotted time. After the close of the public hearing section of this application, I will turn the meeting back over to the mayor, who shall indicate that the public hearing is closed. After these hearings are closed, the applicant or its agent or any member of the public shall no longer address the hearing body in any way, including hand waving or motions for attention. We will now begin the public hearing to review rezoning application from the applicant. This is case number RZ202312002. As the appointed zoning administrator, I'm going to read a brief synopsis of the applicant's rezoning request. SPKR Investments LLC is seeking to rezone approximately 10.4 acres on Glengie Road from R1 single family to MFR multifamily. This zoning change would allow for the development of a new 70-unit townhome, single family attached development. The proposed subdivision would have 32 front-loaded townhomes and 38 rear-loaded townhomes. The project has a gross density site of 6.7 units per acre, and approximately 29% of the site would consist of open space. The rationale for this request is that the property is located in the suburban neighborhood downtown character of the Pendergrass comprehensive plan on its future land use map. These areas have a focus on supporting the downtown area as well as bolstering traditional neighborhood development with a walkable neighborhood on the edge of the downtown area. This proposed MFR zoning meets the purpose and intent of the district for the City of Pendergrass comprehensive urban plan. The developer has agreed to a minimum 1,600 heated square foot home with 2-car garages for each home. These homes are not apartments. They are simple attached homes. Also, this land is identified in the future land use plan as suburban neighborhood character area where higher density residential development may be appropriate, as these parcels are located near downtown Pendergrass and other high intensity areas. This proposed development will be attractively landscaped and use high quality building materials as mandated by the city code. This project is intended to accommodate life in the new era of growth and development in the city. This project allows the city to focus on infill and redevelopment and ensure the continuity of development as well as the quality of development. The developer has agreed to balance tree protection by saving as many existing trees as possible and planting new ones as required by city conditions and open space with innovative site planning. The developer has agreed to provide a minimum 40-foot buffer between this project and the land of property owners in Blackberry Farm subdivision. This property is in a transitional part of the community into the downtown areas of the city. It is transitioning from R1 to higher density multifamily residential and is already surrounded on several sides by residential neighborhoods. The developer has agreed to construct sidewalks across the entire front of this development along Highway 332 Glengie Road to connect the neighborhood to the town center. My recommendation is as follows. The requested zoning classification and subsequent multifamily townhomes that will follow are in the best interest of the City of Pendergrass. This zoning classification will benefit the City of Pendergrass public welfare. The zoning classification will comply with the city's efforts to promote the health, safety, welfare, and morals of this community and maintain the character of this zoning district while allowing for development and natural change to occur. This MFR zoning, if approved, is substantially related to the public health, safety, morality, welfare, because this proposed zoning is compatible with surrounding land uses and is consistent with the city's comprehensive plan. As such, the City Council votes to rezone this property, approval as an MFR zoning would be the most suitable category. As the appointed zoning administrator and the representative for the Department of Planning and Development, I recommend the approval of the request to rezone this property from R1 to MFR. I do ask that the following conditions be made on this property. Buffer trees shall be planted along the entire length of the property, abutting all Blackberry Farm subdivision properties, as well as along the entire south side of property line. These trees shall be canopy trees approved by the city. Residential trees, of which one per lot will be planted by the builder, shall be canopy trees with a minimum 3 inches caliper when planted. These tree specimens shall be approved by the city of Pendergrass Planning Zoning Department before installation. All provisions of the landscape, tree, and buffer ordinances for the city of Pendergrass will be adhered to. There shall be a minimum 40-foot buffer between the individual lots in the subdivision and the Blackberry Farm property contiguous to this development. There shall be constructed a wooden privacy fence along the development boundary lines of all properties in the Brooks Village subdivision. No vinyl siding shall be allowed on any structure whatsoever in this development. Siding products shall be hardy plank or cement siding, cement style siding. The roof shall have dark colored shingles. There shall be a minimum 28-inch quarter table around all 4 sides of each residential dwelling consisting of brick or stone. The front of each residential dwelling shall be faced with stone or brick accents as per the approved elevation. Each residential dwelling shall be constructed with architectural style or craftsman style garage doors. Each residential dwelling shall be constructed to the exact specifications of the approved elevations as approved by the city of Pendergrass. The developer shall provide 5 feet sidewalks along both sides of all publicly dedicated streets and along the length of property along Highway 332 Winchie Road. All sidewalks shall include at least a 1-foot wide planter strip between the sidewalk and the back of the curb. The developer shall ensure all utility placements shall be below ground. Each residential unit shall be constructed with a 2-vehicle garage. All signage shall be a monument-style ground and shall be approved by the city of Pendergrass Planning and Zoning Department. All entrance signage shall be in place before any certificate of occupancy for any building or dwelling will be issued. The materials used to construct the sign shall be substantially similar to the materials used to construct the residential dwelling. All driveways shall be constructed to standards acceptable to an engineer provided by the city of Pendergrass. No driveway construction will be allowed prior to the approval of construction plans by the city engineer, the city building inspector, and the city planning supervisor. The builder shall pay the cost of the full engineers to review all such plans for the city of Pendergrass. Along the entire exterior of this project abutting existing roadway, Highway 332, there shall be a landscape plan to include shrubbery, plantings, and landscape trees as approved by the city. The homeowners association is responsible for the upkeep and repair of these trees and all landscaping in this area. This area shall also be landscaped with sod. All areas of new property development are subject to erosion. Proper erosion control measures shall be implemented by the developer to include rock and dust management practices as required to prevent soil erosion along the entire development. All roof shingles on any structure within development shall be a dark shade, keeping the roofs in line with the others in the city. All publicly dedicated streets shall be equipped with street lamps or lighting plans to be provided by Georgia Power. Each intersection shall include at least 1 street lamp on one corner. These street lamps shall be constructed from metal and shall be black in color. The homeowners association is responsible for paying electrical bills associated with community street lights. The city of Pendergrass shall approve the style of the street lamps to be installed by the developer before any construction can begin on this development. The city engineer shall analyze any existing water detention areas to ensure adequate water discharge management practice. The developer shall have the right to make modifications to any water detention area if necessary, subject to review and approval by the city as well as the city engineer. The city reserves the right to make any changes, additions, or alterations to the detention pond existing on this property as deemed necessary. Failure to make any changes as determined by the city engineer shall authorize the city to refuse to issue any building permit until such time as such changes are made as determined by the city. There should be a mandatory homeowners association to govern this residential development. homeowners association dues will be collected as provided for in the association charter. The developer shall place a sum of money into the homeowners association fund to be determined by the developer in the city of Pendergrass before the first home is to be marketed and sold. This amount will be an amount of money determined be necessary by the city to fund activities of this development until it is occupied to the level necessary to financially support itself. The city of Pendergrass shall approve the homeowners association bylaws before any building permits are issued, and said bylaws will be filled to run with this property development in the Superior Court of Jackson County. The homeowners association shall be responsible for all costs of all maintenance and repairs, as well as costs associated with the monthly power bills for all street lights in this subdivision for all time. The city of Pendergrass shall not be responsible for any costs associated with these street lights. These street lights shall be required for the subdivision for all time, and the covenant shall reflect as such. The developer of this property should agree to pay any and all costs or expenses associated with all engineering plan review costs incurred by city planners, engineers, architects, and surveyors in regards to this development. It is the policy of the city of Pendergrass to have an independent engineer of their own choosing review all preliminary and final engineering plans for conformity to the state and city buildings engineering codes and guidelines. At this time, may we hear from any persons wishing to speak in favor of the proposed zoning amendment in
Maybe we'll switch on the board, right? Are they finished with your board? No problem. Yeah, we can do. Great, thank you. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, council members, staff. My name is Robert Stiegel. I'm here on behalf of Sticker Investments LLC. I am the president of Teton Development. And we are here this evening to present a very straightforward rezoning application. What we're proposing, not to belabor what the steward had said, is we're proposing to rezone 10 acres of property, essentially 5 parcels of land, into a multifamily for-sale townhome development. These will all consist of 3 and 4 bedroom, 2-car garage, and like I said, for sale. Today, I had the opportunity to speak to one of our developers within the city, and he had told us that a similar type of product right now is currently being sold at an average selling price of about $382,000. We would imagine that these would be able to hit that mark and maybe even exceed it. The property is very straightforward in the sense that it is consistent with the suburban neighborhood downtown overlay district and ultimately the comprehensive plan of the city. And that's to promote higher density infill sites with walkability. And as you can see, as the downtown area begins to develop, this site will promote that walkability for families and residents of the city. And with that said, I was going to just show some of the site plans, show what our proposal is, and then walk through some of the elevations. Can everybody hear me? Buy up? Okay. So ultimately, this is the property, north being to the far end, south being this way. Adjacent to us on this side, which would be the east side, it's Blackberry Farm. Currently, the city code requires a 20-foot landscape buffer. So we are proposing a 40, double that buffer. It has been said to us and mentioned to us, would we do everything possible to maintain the natural buffer between our proposed development and Blackberry Farm? And at this time, I'm going to tell you, we will. But it's going to take a little bit of time here as we go through the engineering of the site and ultimately the grading of the site to see how much we can maintain. And whatever we can maintain or whatever needs to be cleared out, as Ms. Stewart had said earlier, we will replace with additional landscape to make sure that we create that buffer between Blackberry Farms, okay, and our existing garage. As I stated, some of the product earlier will be front-loaded. That'll be up on Glen G Road. Everything will have 2-car garage minimum. And then we have some miscellaneous visitor parking spots along the development. We've created a community green center more for maybe a place to walk your dogs, herd your dogs, to be, have your little disposable bags for pickup areas, things such as that. And then some of the product will be what we call a front load, where you'll see the garage from the street, but everything will be 2-car garage minimum, 2-car driveway minimum. But very straightforward, 2 access points out on Glen G Road. We'll put a sidewalk along the entire length of Glen G Road, and it's very close as the Blackberry Farms, people who live in Blackberry Farms, are right next adjacent to the Blackberry Lane. So we'll buffer that with a landscaping buffer, so your throw won't be impacted. We'll buffer with a 20-foot landscape buffer along the entry into Blackberry Lane, and we'll do the same along this side. And I believe this is Providence Estates, am I correct? Yes, Providence Estates, which is being built now currently by Ameritas. So we'll make sure we ensure we buffer that. As far as the overall product type of what we're proposing, we're looking for more of, and let me be very clear, this is conceptual. So this development, should it be approved, okay, by this council, and we move forward, we're probably a year and a half before anything gets built and delivered here. Okay, that's the amount of time it takes to get it approved, and people may or may not be aware, with Jackson County, this will be a water, sewer, sanitary sewer development. We'll need to work through obviously some of the issues that one of the gentlemen brought up earlier. So by the time we get it fully engineered, fully permitted, developed, and under construction, we're talking a year and a half. This is a proposal of what we're looking for, 2-story in nature, okay? We believe we will be able to maintain the property without basements and having to transition grade in our early studies of the property. And then we're thinking more of a modern motif, more of a flat roof, something to mix up the elevations, and creating this would be your vision from the main road, the main boulevard here, Glen G Road, Highway 332, and it would give you the sidewalk, the landscaping, and then a sense of entry to each unit. But that is what our proposal is for the elevations. But the elevations may change depending on the times. I'm not the expert as far as the building and what the public likes, the colors. A lot of that is subjective. But that is a proposal that we are looking to do for the town. And with that said, I will turn it back over to council, and if there's any questions, I'm more than happy to answer any.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
We will now hear from any opponents. Any opponents?
First off, my name is Ben Wilson. I live at 256 Blackberry Lane, Blackberry Farm subdivision. We had a meeting a little while ago, a couple of weeks ago. We were told there was going to be an 80-foot buffer. Now we're being told there's a 40-foot buffer. And then a couple other things. You said Brooks Village, I believe, was getting a privacy fence. I believe Blackberry Farms needs one as well. A couple more comments. The houses behind us in Providence Estates, they've had price reductions, and the townhomes over here have had price reductions. So what makes you think we need more townhomes? No offense, these are really nice, but they look more like business offices to me than townhomes. Couple other things. The fact that you're voting on it the day after Christmas is calculated, and I think it's wrong. There should be a time when we're spending time with family, not having to worry about,
getting freaking 70,000 behind my house. And the other thing is, how would you feel about having a retention pond and apartments in the front of your neighborhood? Good job.
Anyone else?
Cameron Water, Pendergrass. My comment is, I believe the city planner is in violation of the first 3 code ethics rules signed by Governor Brian Kemp on April 1st, 2020. I believe these violations are due to the fact that the city planner owns the property being rezoned.
Anyone else?
My name is Donna Ellis. I live at 166 Blackberry Lane. If you took a poll of everybody in this room behind me, I bet you get 100% of people saying we're against
Nathan Hacker, 176 Lindsay Road, right down the road in downtown, and one of the few houses down there. I think this project should be halted, or the rezoning, until if we're going to increase traffic as well as pedestrian traffic downtown, that our public safety should matter. And with this project, it's going to increase that traffic between the cars and pedestrians with walkability, especially with the townhomes right there. Thanks.
I'm James Bell, I live at 190 Blackberry Lane, and I have to be built on flood. One comment to be hit on front and back behind my house with these new proposals, with the apartments and the townhomes, not responsible for roads. Secondly, I think it speaks volumes that the only people that came to speak for this were people that were going to make tons of money off of it. I think that speaks volumes. And third, I think our elections have consequences, everyone, and if this passes, I hope it inspires our community to get out and vote and run for office and make changes in the community.
Renee Johnson, 153 Park Street. I just want to say I'm against these like I was against across the street. And my comment is kind of a question comment. How many people do you have to say no, that we don't want this at this time for our city, for the city council to take notes? Maybe is 2 meetings enough for zoning, for people to come in and say, no, we don't need this right now. Our city has not recovered. They haven't even finished moving dirt across the street, and y'all want to add almost double of what's across the street. Where's the responsibility in that, in the road? I mean, how much is too much at one time?
My name is Richard Stone. I live at 48 J. Road in Talma. It's on the outside. What goes on here affects us tremendously. I am the 4th of 5 generations of my family that has lived in Talma. I've lived there 140 years. I've seen a lot of changes. And one of the biggest changes is the amount of traffic that goes through Talma. I can't hardly cross the street. It's taking me 5 to 7 minutes to go across the street, across Main Street in Talma, because of the traffic from what's already been built. And building more is only going to increase it. A lot of the traffic is from that direction through the back way to Gainesville. And, I've seen this town used to be a quiet little, nice town. Now it's turned into a monstrosity of overdevelopment. There's too many houses, there's too many people, it's ugly, it's an eyesore. And only people that enjoy this
are the people that are making the most money out of it. So, there's no consideration for Telma, what this is going to do to Telma. One thing that it has done in development here is my property taxes usually increase 10–15% every 3–4 years. Last year, but the property value increased 100% in 1 year. So it directly affects me. I don't want Telmo to turn into Pendergrass. I'm sorry, but it's too much. Thank you.
Scott Davidson, 115 Library Lane, again. There was, during the previous reading, and I'm sorry to go back to that, and including this one, in the interest of Blackberry Farms, I just want to make sure that it's noted that we were talking about a gated entry in Blackberry Farms, and I want that to be on the record that this is mentioned again. And I would like to have our neighborhood together as input of what the front of that entry looks like when we get to this point, if this proceeds forward, which I would be able to support, but just make sure that we have this on, please, so we can discuss that.
The only thing I'd like to say is you don't want to give my name again, do you?
Please.
Donald Roberts, 570 Brothers Road. The only thing I was going to say, you was talking about it was going to be very, very prosperous for the city and all. And I think the two-town dollars is the one that's going to prosper most out of this.
Ben Wilson, 256 Library Lane again. I just don't, I like this, but I don't understand why we're going for a retro look there and a modern look here. It doesn't match. It doesn't match up.
Where are we on our time? Anyone else? I will, unless we want to hear again from any proponents of the project. Ma'am. Yes.
Kathy Robinson, 220 Glen Lane. I'd like to make a proposal that we have more discussion between now and then, that we actually push back the vote from December the 26th for at least 2 weeks beyond that period of time, to give people a little more time to get used to it.
Mayor, I will turn the second read.
I will now close the second public hearing. I'm going to give 5 minutes before we start the council meeting that we have to start. Renee, you